Seven Best Daenerys Targaryen Theories for Game of Thrones Season 8. In just under a week, the final season of Game of Thrones will premiere, neatly tying up all those loose ends and giving us the closure we've
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.